tonight and just playing harder as a team. And we had the good stretch, as you said, down the stretch. And we get them 5-19.
Seemed like you guys were really locked in, really wanted this win. Coach only went 8 guys deep, and it was like almost like a playoff type rotation where you guys did it.
We definitely want this win. You know, it's a big win for us. It's a win that counts for 2. And you know, we just have to play hard. You know, yesterday we didn't play as we wanted, and we just wanted to come and set the tone tonight and try to get a win.
What's your mentality when you're coming back into the game? 3 minutes left, you have 5 fouls, and the team's down 3. You guys know you need to make a little run.
I just got to be smarter, but I still got to have a killer instinct. Try to make plays. That can be shots for me, or that can be shots for my teammate. Just trying to get it done and just try to get it done.
And how comfortable were you with the other guys really stepping up when you went to the bench with your 5th foul and you were out for 3.5 minutes?
Comfortable, I trust them. I know they're gonna make the right play and they're gonna keep playing hard. That's what the team do now. Some players Delhi went down. When I had my 5th foul, so I just gotta step up and try to get it away. We're not built around one player. We build around everybody in the team.
What does it take to go out there and play the first 18 minutes of the second half on the second game of back-to-back and have to kind of do as much as you did?
Coach Kidd, told me, don't play minutes tonight, and I was like, okay. I love playing basketball. Everybody's fatigued, but you gotta fight. You gotta go out there and fight and do your job every night, and that's what I'm trying to do for my team. And Coach, as I said, Coach told me that I'm gonna play minutes, and I was like, okay, I gotta fight through it and play as hard as I can every night.
Did you relish the opportunity to play center and kind of get the pace going and kind of changing a little bit?
Playing center is the hardest part. Makes things a lot difficult for me because I gotta be now helping everybody. And I appreciate my centers, John and Van, even more now that I know what they're going through for us. But offensively, it makes the game a lot easier for us. Able to rebound the ball and go and make plays and get open threes as we did in the 3rd quarter and the 4th quarter.
You guys also out-rebounded them tonight, a night after really struggling in that department.
We did. I did not.
How big was that?
That was big. I know that we did a better job rebounding the ball, but I did not notice how many rebounds Washington had.
Not specifically for that play, but what's going through your mind when the team needs a clutch shot and the ball's in your hand?
I got to get a shot off. I don't know if it's going to go in or if I'm going to miss it. I just got to get a shot off. It's 50-50, or I'm going to miss or I'm just going to go in. So in those type of situations, I'm thinking, get in the spot, get a shot that you've been working on, and just shoot it.
Welcome to another day here on the Focus TV. Thank you so much for tuning in. Man, we got a lot to discuss this evening. As you guys saw from the first video, the Wizards have been busy. We're going to talk about them a little bit later. We're going to talk about Alabama in Tua Tagovailoa a little bit later. Man, that was a crazy finish to a game last night. We got Octavia to talk about the NFL playoffs a little bit later. We got a special guest in studio. We're going to get to that as well. That game was crazy last night. It was very, very, very crazy, and thoroughly enjoyed it. And shout out to Nick Saban for having the best recruiting class ever. To put him in at the end of the game and whatnot, But what a way to flex. But Cardell, you want to introduce our guest today? You want me to introduce him?
Go ahead, man.
I can? Okay.
Yeah, you can.
All right, man. 2018, I want to make sure nothing changed here, man. But thank everybody for tuning into The Focus. We truly appreciate it. If it's your first time tuning in, stick around with us for the whole hour. If it's not your first time, welcome back. Today's guest is Jamaal Haywood, a pro basketball trainer and assistant coach at Archbishop Spalding High School. So, we talk about trainers around these parts oh so much. Oh, so much. I mean, sometimes like on a weekly type event. But I'm going to go ahead and start the interview off. I had a couple questions for you, but I'm going to ask you one, and then we'll let Cardell jump in. So, with the men's game moving to like this positionless place, sometimes people forget about the women's game. No, you train women on the women's side as well.
Yes.
With the men's game moving to that side, and in the women's game, we're trying to, not that it hasn't been positionless, but we're starting to see more athleticism at different positions, and it's a little bit more unorthodox nowadays. Has that impacted the way that you train young ladies?
No, not really. I try to basically, a couple questions I ask some of my clients is what position you play, or where do you play at on the court, because of course coaches can put them in different situations. So I just want to go based off what that coach uses them as and help them develop in that area so they can be successful on the court. So that's pretty much how I look at it.
Are you talking about, keeping it to where coaches like them to play? Why do you feel like that's so important? Because sometimes we see across the board on different things, some people try to reinvent the wheel at times.
It's good to be versatile, but at the same time, you got to do what's best for your team. And, of course, the coach is going to know what's best for the team. So, I mean, we as a group may say, okay, this person needs to work on their jump shot. But if they're not going to be shooting in the game based on what the coach sees, then we can have them work on their jump shot, but at the same time, make them work on what the coach is going to have them do in the game as well also, too, which should be the main focus.
All right, Cardell. I'll chime in a little bit later.
9450 training company. I wanted to know, what was your motivation in starting that company in the first place?
Well, as a kid, as for you and for anybody else that plays basketball, everybody's dream is to play professional basketball. Mm-hmm. Some people know this, a lot of people may not know this, but the size of an NBA court is 94 feet and 50 feet wide, so that was pretty much one of the ideas behind it. As far as how I started training, just me being in the gym, working on my own personal game, and, a couple parents came up to me, asked me to help out their kids and stuff like that. So it started from that, just some middle school kids, and went up to high school kids, and, lucked out to, meet some professional players and help them out, and it just grew from there. So, I mean, of course, like I said, I had a dying passion to be a professional basketball player, which I was able to achieve to some extent, but had to channel that as I got older to a different avenue, which is the training part. So I love it. I love developing players. I love seeing them getting better. I love helping them. I just got a text message an hour ago from one of my players from Long Reach High School, Kiana Williams. She just achieved her 1,000 points yesterday. She's actually off to Bethune-Cookman.
Okay.
So I've had her for the last 2 years, and fine-tune her game to help her get to a different level.
Okay. You an assistant for Spalding.
Yes.
And I know you try to, it could be tough just doing that job, just being a coach. How do you balance both worlds, being a trainer and coaching?
It's not that hard. The head coach is understanding. He knows that's what I was doing before I came on staff. But it's not that hard. To me, honest with you, it's the same. I mean, I have our times for practice, so I make sure I schedule stuff before and after. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, game days, that precedes over any training, because I just want to be on staff. I don't want to be missing or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So I want to be helpful for the team. And, it helps me develop some of the players on the team as well also. Mm-hmm. I don't work with all of them personally, but some of them, come to me for advice for anything. So, I believe I'm an integral part on the coaching staff.
Okay. Yeah. You have an extensive list on the men's and women's side,
Yes.
A deep clientele list. Can you give us a few names of the men and women that you train? Also, Can you also let us know what are the similarities and differences when you train,
Men and women? To be honest with you, I don't really train them differently.
Okay.
I try to keep it the same. My goal for my workout sessions is to make a game simulated and make it harder than an actual game, so that you can be prepared for the game, and the game can be easier. So a lot of people may say that I'm first 48, where I try to kill people. I've been given that name before. If that's what they want to call me, that's fine. But I just try to keep them in shape. Do a lot of shooting, do a lot of ball handling, a lot of in-game situations. I think with me getting into the training business, it allowed me to watch basketball more. I did already, but now my TV stays on NBA TV. So I just watch basketball a lot, whether it's NBA, college, or just any type of basketball, because now I'm becoming more of a student of the game. So that's just how I learn. Of course, just going through different experiences, just coming up playing as a basketball player, high school, college, you learn things throughout those times. But just watching the game, you learn so much, which I try to tell these kids nowadays. Some listen, some don't, but you just got to watch basketball a lot.
Okay. I know you train players from all over the area, but you heavy with Baltimore, man. You know what I'm saying? Was that something that was strategic? Like, that's something you set out to do, or is just something that just happened over time?
It just happened over time. So that's where I live at, actually. So it just happened over time. But of course, I'm not opposed to any other area. I have traveled to different countries to train, Spain and Italy. So I don't really have any boundaries. I know you had asked me earlier about some of the names. Roscoe Smith, he's currently in the D League with Greensboro team. Karonda Shields, one of my players, he actually just signed back last night to go back to Hungary First Division. Couple of players I have, of course, Noah Locke, one of the top high school players in the country. As far as on the women's side, Lindra Weaver, she goes by two last names, Lindra Weaver, Lindra Littles. She's currently in First Division in Spain, averaging about 19 and 8 rebounds. Lindsay Spann, she's on the University of South Carolina, shooting guard for that team. She transferred there from Penn State. She's an 1,000-point scorer as well, also too. So I mean, I can keep going if you want, but no, I'm not.
When you're working with players, definitely kind of being behind the curtain with the NBA now, I see whatever they're working on is very detailed.
Yeah.
Do you emphasize detailed work when you're working with your clients?
Yes. I think correcting players is a big piece that may be missing with some trainers. Not to knock anybody, but I think that's very important. You shouldn't be afraid to stop them and tell them, okay, do it this way, or do it that way, or offer some type of advice, or maybe try this way, because I think everybody doesn't know everything, whether they're young kids or older. There's some things that even professional players that have experience, that have been successful, they may not know. So I just feel like details does matter, and it just allows you to have an advantage over other players.
Right. What would turn you out to the point where you say, "No, I'm not gonna work with you"?
Say that again.
What would turn you off to the point where you say you won't work with a player?
Work ethic. Because I'm not for everybody, and I'm not easy. I mean, a lot of my players, say, I need a break. A lot of times I say no. So, I mean, if you can't handle it, then you can go to somebody else. That's fine. I mean, there's plenty of other trainers in this area, all over the world. Like I said, I'm not for everybody.
Okay. There's a lot of gimmicks, non-game transferable stuff being thrown to kids out there. A lot of players and stuff.
Yes.
What are your thoughts currently on the overall state of basketball training?
Exactly what you said. Might be some people out there just trying to fill their pockets up, which is fine. Everybody has their different approach to it, but I guess it just makes you question if they really have a love for basketball, or if they actually watch basketball. So I think that's probably like the bigger question: is, do you watch basketball? Do you pay attention? A lot of things what I do is I pay attention to a lot of different players. It may not be somebody that I don't even like or don't even watch on a consistent basis. Because I mean, everybody has their favorite players to look at and somebody they follow on a consistent basis. But you can also learn something from players that you don't really follow, or someone that you never even heard of, and you watch their game and it's like, oh man, that's cool. I can probably implement that into a training session. But like you said, it's gimmicks. I mean, but it's out there. I mean, that's kind of like with everything in life. I mean, there's official things and there's non-official things.
And, lastly, if I'm a player who recognizes I need help to get to another level, why should I come to you?
I think I can relate to a lot of players because of course, I played high school, college, and semi-pro and a little professional as well also. But I'm still active in the game as far as recreational and for fun and stuff like that. I try to keep myself in good shape because I think that's important, because I can easily tell you what to do, but showing you is good as well also too. So if I can't show you, then I can't expect you to have full faith in me all the time. Now, there's some instances where I will tell you and then you'll just go and run with it and you'll do it correctly. But sometimes you do need to break it down, which, to piggyback off what you said as far as details, sometimes you do need to break it down and get out there and, put your shoes on and stuff like that to just, let people know that this is how it's supposed to be done so they can do it that way.
Well, you took my last question because I was going to ask about this, since we're seeing some of what the pros do in terms of how they work out and how everything's like position specific or game specific, and Cardell took that away from me, so I didn't have another question. But I want to thank you for coming in.
No problem.
Appreciate it. We wish
Thank you for having me.
Success. Oh, no problem. But you're not leaving. You got a lot of shows.
That's fine.
No one's allowed to leave without being
That's fine.
put through the torture chamber, aka rapid fire. So you're watching the Focus TV. You're going to take a very quick break, and we'll see you guys on the other side. Welcome back, everybody. Yeah, to the folks on social, we had to mute you because it's the breaks. But welcome back. Welcome back to the Focus TV. We truly appreciate you guys tuning in. Want to thank our guest tonight is Jamaal Haywood from 9450. You guys get over there, check what's going on. We just had a great conversation with him just now. What Cardell did, I only asked a couple questions. I'm not going to take any credit, chime in real quick. But Octavia, the floor is yours, man. I'm turning my mic off now.
You didn't sound happy about that.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I said you didn't sound happy about that.
Here you go.
Thanks. So, of course, we did just have the ball card weekend. 4 good games. Well, maybe not 4, but it was 4 games. So first game was Kansas City Chiefs versus the Tennessee Titans. Chiefs lost 21-22. Titans won. Marcus Mariota was 19 of 13, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Derrick Henry, 23 carries, 156 yards, 1 touchdown. And Delaney Walker had 6 receptions, 74 yards, and also Eric Decker had 2 receptions, 21 yards, and 1 touchdown. Alex Smith on the other side ended up with 24 of 33, 264 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Kareem Hunt ended with 11 carries, 42 yards, 1 touchdown, while Tyreek Hill ended with 7 receptions, 87 yards, and Travis Kelce, 4 receptions, 66 yards, and 1 touchdown. So, of course, the question every year with Kansas City is what they're going to do in the postseason. And might as well just go ahead and knock that out and just stop talking about it now because it is bad. Of course, Travis Kelce got injured in the first half, and I think once that happened, it all just kind of went downhill for them. They did kind of pull it together at the end of the first half and got that touchdown right at the end of the first half, but they were shut out the entire second half. Halftime, it was 21-3. Tennessee ends up winning 22-21. I'm sorry. And it's just like they had no answer for Derrick Henry, 156 yards, and that was kind of my one thing that I was looking to see. How would the running game sustain for a whole game without having DeMarco Murray there at all? Decker did drop a couple of key passes, but he caught them when he really needed it. That touchdown catch that he did catch. I don't know what happened to the Chiefs. They continued to disappoint in the playoffs. Mariota threw a touchdown to himself. And this was not the first time this has happened.
It was rather impressive.
It was. And he was impressive, you could see that they decided it must have been some type of talk they had at halftime because they came out on the field with a different attitude, a lot more effort. And you could see like Mariota was running everywhere, just to try to keep them alive and get that touchdown in there. So next week they will play New England. It's a nice run for them.
You already calling it?
Come on, man. Let's be honest. Let's be honest real quick. I mean, the questions going into the game is going to be, can Derrick Henry repeat this type of performance that he had this past weekend? The only thing that you can say about the Patriots really is just what's going on outside of football for them. It's a lot of turmoil right now between Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, and Tom Brady. So just to kind of see if that's going to play over and carry over into the game. I don't think it will. They're professionals. I mean, they are the Patriots. It is TB12 and Bill. So I expect this game to be easy. Next game that I'm going to talk about is going to be Falcons and the Rams. So Falcons defeated the Rams 26-13. Matt Ryan was 21 of 30, 218 yards, 1 touchdown. Devontae Freeman, 18 carries, 66 yards, 1 touchdown. Julio Jones, 9 receptions, 94 yards, and 1 touchdown. Jared Goff was 24 of 45, 259 yards, 1 touchdown. Todd Gurley, 14 carries, 101 yards. And Robert Woods was 9 receptions, 142 yards. So the Los Angeles Rams we saw all year was not there. They weren't there. I don't know if you chalk it up to, inexperience, nobody not being, they didn't have a lot of playoff experience with the players that are still in the team. Sean McVay, first year. I don't know if it was jitters, they were nervous, what it was, but this was not the same team. This team was the number one. They led the league in scoring this year, and they ended this game with 13 points. 1 touchdown by Cooper Kupp. Yes, Todd Gurley ended up with 101 yards, but he only had 43 yards through the first 3 quarters. So he got most of his yards late. I was kind of surprised, I thought it would be a toss-up between the two because of the experience of the Falcons, but, how Falcons been lately. But the defense stepped up. Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman, they both accounted for 100 yards, I believe, about 106, between the two of them. So they will move on, and they will play in Philadelphia on Saturday. I'm going to be unbiased, I think. I'm going to try to be unbiased.
For the first time all season. Yay.
To be honest, this was the team I would rather play out of everybody that was left, to be completely honest, between them or the Panthers. I'm cool with this. I feel like it'll be a good matchup for us. I felt like the Rams and and the Saints was just been a lot to kind of handle.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm good with this. Biggest question marks going into the game is, can the Falcons defense keep it up? The defense was amazing on this past weekend, and is Matt Ryan going to show up as well? Biggest questions for the Eagles, of course, is Foles going to be their guy? I feel like that's just the biggest question around the whole situation, just to see if he's going to have that chemistry with the players. Did the bye week help? Did he get more reps in? Like, what happened? So I'm excited to see. If I had to call it, of course, I'm going to say the Eagles are going to win. So stay tuned for next week. Okay. The Bills and the Jags. Bills lost to the Jags 10-3. Tyrod Taylor, 17 of 37, 134 yards, 1 interception. LaShawn McCoy had 19 carries for 75 yards, and he also led in receptions with 6 for 44 yards. Blake Bortles, 12 of 23, 87 yards, 1 touchdown. He also led in rushing, 10 carries, 88 yards, and D.D. Westbrook had 5 receptions and 48 yards. This game was horrible, completely horrible. I can't even really say if it was a defensive game or just the offense for both teams just weren't inadequate this week.
Accurate.
LaShawn McCoy to me did everything he could possibly do with not being 100%. Tyrod Taylor as well. I feel like they both try their best to kind of pull it together, but Jacksonville's defense is amazing. Jalen Ramsey, Calais Campbell, it's too many people to even name. So I feel like their defense really held them down for most of it and gave Blake Bortles time to finally put together some type of drive, because that 1 touchdown is what sealed the deal for them. Tyrod Taylor did get knocked out in the last minute of the 4th quarter, and in came Peterman, and I don't know why anybody thought he wasn't going to do what he does, which is throw interceptions. So I was surprised that he did pick up the 4th down with his legs, but Peterman, I don't suspect he'll be on anybody's roster next year. If he is, I will be surprised. Questions going into next week. The Jags will be playing in Pittsburgh. Can the Jags produce enough offense next week against Pittsburgh? They scored 10 points. That's not going to fly against Pittsburgh. Of course, their defense is going to hold them down, but you will expect Pittsburgh to score more than 3 points. Is Antonio Brown going to be healthy enough to be effective? Is the big question mark. If he's not as effective, you can see that Juju can hold it down. You can see Le'Veon hold it down. So it's going to be a good game. I'm excited to see.
I would sit him out. Brown.
I don't think they would. I don't think he's going to allow them to be completely honest. I think he's gonna push through it. But hopefully, they don't put him out there and he gets further injured, and then they do get past, and then you're playing against a really, really good team, and you really don't have him as opposed to holding him out. So that is the question mark with them. And last but not least, you had the Saints and the Panthers. The Panthers were defeated by the Saints 31-26. Newton was 24 of 40, 349 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jonathan Stewart, 11 carries, 51 yards, and Greg Olsen, 8 receptions, 107 yards, and 1 touchdown. Drew Brees ended up with 23 of 33, 376 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Kamara, 10 carries, 23 yards, and 1 touchdown, and Thomas had 8 receptions for 131 yards. The Panthers' defense held up well for them for the most part because they held Ingram and Kamara to under 100 yards. So that was a feat in itself because they've been running over everybody all year. So that was a good point for them, but their secondary was absolutely trash. They got killed the entire game. Ted Ginn, whom we always used to say only shines as a Panther, had an 80-yard reception on them for the touchdown. And it just looked easy to me for them. Yes, the Panthers did get in the red zone a lot, but they could not score any touchdowns. And Graham Gano missing the very first field goal that he kicked came back to bite them in the end. Because if he hadn't made that, they would have been, I believe, 3 points down. So they wouldn't have been rushing so much to score a touchdown to, keep the game in, or either win or whatever they were supposed to do. They would have only had to shoot. They would have only had to kick a field goal. So it came back to haunt them. Also, it was a mistake at the end. Even when Breeze threw an interception, they shouldn't have not taken their interception because that pushed them even further back. Had they not intercepted the ball, it would have been turnover on downs, and they would have been closer, and they may have had a better shot at it. So Panthers, I believe they said this is the first time in their history on Wild Card Weekend that they have not won. I believe they were 3-0. Now they're 3-1 on Wild Card Weekend. So the Saints will play Minnesota next week in Minnesota. Everybody knows the Super Bowl will be in Minnesota this year. So questions going into that is, will Case Keenum actually deliver in the postseason? And if he doesn't, if he struggles in this game, will they pull him? Have they been working out Bridgewater enough? I'm not sure if Bradford came back enough to even be in the conversation yet, but if something goes wrong, are they going to ride with him throughout this like they have been during the whole season, or will they pull him? So that's what I'm looking forward to see. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot they had Bradford. They got 3 quarterbacks now.
Exactly. So it's kind of like, what are they going to do there? And biggest question for the Saints for right now, to me, is if Ingram and Kamara couldn't shine against the Panthers, will they against the Vikings? The Vikings defense to me was the best defense in the NFL. I know there was stats and all types of things that were pointing at other teams, but the Minnesota defense was amazing all year. So I'm looking. That's probably outside of our game, outside of the Eagles and the Falcons game. That's probably the game I'm most excited to see between the Saints and the Vikings. So
you just had to find a way to bring the Eagles up just one more time.
Game. Yeah.
Like our game.
Our game, yes. We are a team and we are a family. Okay.
Oh, good gosh! Before we hear like some horrible rendition of Fly Eagles Fly,
I won't do that to y'all.
We want to thank you guys. We're tuning in for Octavia's segment. We'll be right back. We're gonna talk about what's going on later. What's going on, the latest with your Washington Wizards, then jump into whatever Cardell has planned for us for Rapid Fire. You're watching the Focus TV. We'll be right back. Welcome back again. We were having fun on the break. Man, fun times around these parts. All right, so the Washington Wizards, Damo, thank you so much for the gifts, man. You know, they're right on time.
I don't even want to know.
It's been busy for them, man. They had this area feeling real good. We're in the midst of a 4-game win streak. Giannis and company came to town. And again, the Wizards got off to a spectacular start. Things looked good. Felt like they were in control of that game, at least through the first quarter. Midway through the first, things still felt good. Second quarter, like midway through the second quarter, the Bucks length started taking over. And you know, sometimes when you're playing really long teams, you move the ball well, you can stay a couple of steps ahead of them. You stop moving the ball, and that length comes to play, and they start getting stops. You know, once you get Giannis out in transition, there's nothing you can do but pray about it. And praying wasn't stopping him from finishing over people either. The Bucks got going. It turned into where they were trading baskets for some of the game. Then in the fourth, you know, Giannis is an MVP candidate type player, and you saw why late in the game is, you know, we always talk about how dangerous he could be, and I know Cardell talks about it all the time. Just he's already annoying. You can't figure him out. What he could be with a consistent jump shot. But what we saw was, I don't know if I got to watch a little bit more this year to see if this turnaround jumper in the post becomes something that's automatic. Because he had a couple and it was unfair. There's nothing you can do about it. He's already 6'12". There's just nothing you can do about it. And he started hitting the jumper, and it's kind of like, you know, the jumper he hit, which was kind of like a mini dagger after Bledsoe's 3, which was like a full dagger, but Washington responded. You're like, all right, cool, they're still alive. Then, you know, Kelly was a great contest. Kelly's a long guy as is, and Giannis just calmly pulled up, knocked that thing down, and all the air went out the building. And, you know, Washington now, that was the very first part of a 5-game homestand. The remaining 4 games, starting tomorrow, the Jazz. Then they have a back-to-back Orlando and Brooklyn. Again, this is all at Capital One. And then they play the Bucks again on Monday before they end their homestand. So they have the Bucks at the beginning of the homestand. They have them at the end. Cardell, you want to chime in?
You know, they're looking better. They're figuring things out. I just want them to kind of be more poised, and that start with Wall and Bill.
Mm-hmm.
To me, they lost the game at the 7:24 mark. The Bucks were up 92-90. That's when Dellavedova, you know, did the flagrant on Brad.
Yeah.
You know, and they got kind of, you know, emotional stuff. But you're going to have situations like that. I'm looking forward, you know. I'm not looking at right now. I'm looking at forward. If you to get past the Cavs, you're going to have to be poised, or whoever in the playoffs. And they showed a lack of poise down the stretch. After that flagrant foul, the Wiz finished the game 3 of 10 shooting, and made 7 of 10 from the line. But the Bucks finished the game 6 of 9 from the field, and 3 of those shots, three of the 4 shots were from Greek Freak, and the other shot was from Bledsoe. Those were the daggers you were talking about, and they made 5 or 6 from the line, and they won 110-103. So, you know, if they made just a couple more shots, they right there to try to win the game. And, you know, that's poise. That's Wall and Bill. They have the ball in their hands most of the time, you know, especially in the stretches. And remember how I told you when Dellavedova did that? I said that was we would never know, but that I think kids.
You felt like it was a vet move.
No, kids sent that in.
Oh.
You know, sent that to happen because lately that's when Bill kind of take over and the Wizards will pull away and get the win. And Bill was starting to get aggressive. He was going to work, and I think that what that did was just shake up Bill enough where he was so stuck on. Even though Dellavedova got, you know, ejected, he was still stuck on. He mad.
Yeah, because
by the time they started calming down, the game was over. And then you try and press late in the game, and you forcing stuff, which is exactly what they wanted to happen. And that's kind of like old school. You know what I'm saying? Somebody get going, you mess them up a little bit, and it get them out their game. You know what I'm saying? By the time they regroup, the game might be over. So it's little things like that where I'm like, they still got a ways to go, you know, handling poise in a clutch situation. But they're improving. Like, I'm seeing more intensity on defense. Marquise playing better, double-doubles, go attack. You know, ever since Wall came back, he's been killing everything there. 20 points, you know, 10 rebounds, couple blocks. You know, they're right there. They just got to bring that poise in and finish games. And I don't mean you got to blow out teams like they've been doing. It can't, and that just further explains what I'm talking about. They either blow out teams or they lose close games.
Yeah.
You got to figure out a way how to win close games because that's how it's going to be in the playoffs. And right now, how I love how coming in the season people just dismiss the East, but the East is stronger than what people thought. So it's not going to be easy in the first and second rounds, you know, to try to even get to the Eastern Conference. So, but but that falls on the leaders. You know, I don't look to other guys to do that. That's on Wall and Bill. Those are your guys. So they have the ball late. They got to be able to figure that out. And until they do, you're going to kind of have this up and down balance. And right now, they kind of looking like last year. They might be second round and out, depending on who they draw. When they're capable of, honestly, they play at the top of their, talent level and all that. They have the ability to get out the East. Not saying it would be easy, but they can rumble with Cleveland and stuff. Like, both times they lost to Cleveland, it took Herculean efforts from LeBron and Kevin Love just for them to win. So they're right there, like I said, poised. And that's what's hurting them right now. They got to figure out a way how to be more poised.
And they got a great opportunity to try to grow in both poise and being consistent with them. That's a huge thing too. With sometimes, especially like look at the Nets. They struggle against teams under 500. You got a couple of those in his homestand. You need to take care of it. Part of being a professional is taking care of the games that you're supposed to win.
And shout out to Milwaukee. Adding Bledsoe was a big move.
Yeah.
It changes the dynamic of that team. They got a point guard that could rumble with all the point guards in the league, and they better hope with Jabari not healthy. Because if he come back, they'd be a serious problem. Because Greek Freak, hell, man. Like I see why they hoping he don't get a jumper. I put up the stats, man. I'm like, he averaging 28, 10, and 5 or whatever without a jumper. I'm like, man, look, man. And then you saw what happened when he hits the jumper. It was nothing you could do. And I when he plays against LeBron, I'm like, he's one of the few players that give LeBron trouble consistently.
It's too long.
Nah, it ain't even that. When you see him live, you realize how strong he is.
Yeah.
When he bumped Markieff bounced back. I don't see even LeBron. They do it like that. When he bumped Oubre on the break, Oubre folded on the floor. Like, he's strong as hell. So you worried about his number. You feel that contact. You can see it. Like, they bump off him, and he don't even worry about it. He just finger rolling. Like, where's the foul at? And he go back on defense. I'm like, man,
but
yo.
I think with LeBron, I wouldn't say like full on struggles, but players that like have length, he sometimes has trouble with them. Like a Durant, Kawhi,
Wiggins.
Even when this guy was with Memphis, Rudy Gay, he used to give him trouble too. So like players that got like just length and just
athleticism.
He don't really do too well because LeBron is a great player, but doesn't have like a lot of wiggle in his game.
Exactly.
So it's just like it's more so try to run past somebody or run over people. So he doesn't really maneuver around them. So players like that will give him trouble. So that and then of course if that guy's strong like you say he is, then that's even worse. If he gets a jump shot, it's
Hey, look, there was one sequence down there on offensive glass. He's between Keith and Gortat. He bumped March out the way a little bit to get the rebound and finish. With the left hand is like, they had him playing a 5 a little bit, but he's not a 5, and he's like the contact doesn't bother him
like you said
much.
earlier,
like,
he's positionless because he can do so much.
It's scary.
He's scary. Those two teams though are kind of similar though. Kind of the way you describe the Wizards, as far as up and down, they're both similar in that aspect. Adding Bledsoe does definitely help them, but there are games that they shouldn't lose, that they do lose, and there's games that they win that you're like, okay, this is what we expect. So,
but I expect more out the Wizards because the Wizards got more of a veteran group than they do. Like the Bucks they relying on young guys like Thon Maker, Brogdon to come in, come in and contribute and stuff like that. The Wizards got vets outside of Uber. They got guys that been there, done that.
This is true.
So it shouldn't be these lapses in crunch time where they just fall apart and stuff. Especially over hard fight, what you think gonna happen? Like you going off. So I would expect them to be physical.
Right.
And and that's why I'm looking at it. Because we all know in the NBA you only got a certain amount of time where you got a group strong enough to get it done, where they gonna allow you that rope to get it done. When you don't get it done, they got we gotta make changes. It ain't happening. So I don't want them to take this for granted because last year they had no bench. The bench strong is one of the best in the league now. They almost averaging 50 a game. What more do you want? You got everything you need.
I've always said for the past couple of years the Wizards is probably the only team I feel in the East. Even though Boston is doing so good right now with Kyrie and just that whole team chemistry, I still feel like the Wizards, top to bottom, is probably the only team that can really compete with the Cavs and possibly beat them. I still don't feel Boston can beat them in the playoffs. I think the Wizards is the only team. If they're playing on their game, because comparing Boston to the Wizards, yes, you have Kyrie, but then there's a drop-off with the two guards opposed to the Wizards where you have Wall and Beal. Those two by themselves, and then the team chemistry, and then, they, like you said, they have a bench now. They should that's the only team I see that can
And even
compete
Bill,
with.
and Bill and Porter, they can stretch
Yeah.
the floor,
Yeah.
drive, dunk, mid-range, shoot free throws, defend. Like they got.
Oubre plays very good defense.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not even gonna knock Boston. I like Tatum, but Tatum a rookie, and I like Brown. You know what I'm saying? But they're young, man. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. Maybe we'll go into Hayward. I give it to them. The only thing they like reverse issues with them. Like the Celtics defend how I wish the Wizards would defend.
Right.
But the Wizards score how I feel Boston won't be able to score. So it's like, you know, but you know, it is what it is, man. So I mean, we'll see, man. Hopefully they figure it out.
Hey, look, only time will tell. The fun thing is we will be around to see it. So make sure you stay up with your Wizards coverage with us here at the Focus TV. Get over to findersmag.com and mymountainsports.com. Rapid fire, the floor is yours, sir. See how many questions we can get in before the buzzer sounds.
First question. We gonna start with our guests and move around. Shooting guard, all-star spot in the East is ultra competitive, man. You have Victor Oladipo averaging 24.5 points. On 49% shooting from the field, 42% shooting from three, 79 from the line, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, almost 2 steals. You have Brad Beal averaging 23.6 points per game, 45% from the field, 36 from three, 78 from the line, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and almost 1.5 steals. Then you had DeMar DeRozan averaging 25 on 48% shooting from the field, 36 from three, 82 from the line, 4.5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 1.2 steals. And Indiana record is 21-19, Washington's 23-17, Toronto's 28-10. Who would you get a start now to?
DeRozan.
On top, okay.
Yeah, I was going to agree. At the end of the day, when it's that close between so many of them and they're all playing that well, you got to go with the record.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with DeRozan. I'm actually a big fan of him. He's one of the players that I watch a lot. Footwork wise, it's A plus. He's just amazing. So I'm gonna go with DeRozan.
I'm going to finish this out by choosing DeRozan as well as the starter.
Yeah, man, you can't knock the wins, man. It is what it is, man. You know, I got love for Bill. Oladipo, what he doing, and Indiana was up there till when he got hurt. And that slide happened, so it's not his fault, but it is what it is, man. So there you go, DeRozan for everybody. Former NBA forward Steven Jackson said he smoked marijuana his entire career and should take it off, and the NBA should take it off the ban list. Thoughts?
I mean,
rapid fire, man.
I think, yeah. Go ahead, take it off.
Take it off.
Take it off. Take it off.
I feel like they might as well because they're doing it anyway. They know they're doing it. Everybody knows they're doing it. They're legalizing it in so many of these different states that they play in and that they're going to. And like, I mean, but I just feel like they won't. I feel like they won't do it just because, but they might as well.
I think they will because there's gonna be more players that follow what he just said.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might as well. They're doing it anyways. Allegedly, of course, but yeah.
Okay. Which freshman in your eyes will be a better pro? Oklahoma's Trae Young, averaging 29.4 points, 10.6 assists. Duke's Marvin Bagley, 21.9 points, 11.6 rebounds. DeAndre Ayton from Arizona, 20 points, 12.1 rebounds. And I'm going to throw Mo Bamba in there, 11.9 points, 10.6 rebounds, with 4.5 blocks a game. Or Colin Sexton, 20.4 points, or 3.5 assists a game. Who you feel will be the better pro?
Bagley.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
I agree. I still always feel like it depends on what organization they end up in.
True.
I'm with Octavia. It really depends on where they end up. I'm going to go Bamba here just because he's just so moldable right now. You have no idea what that thing is. Like, I'm not trying to sound crazy, but it's just like, because, like, you know, you can only do so much with somebody in college, especially if they're only there for a year, right?
Right.
So you get to the pros, and you think about all the possibilities of what that can become, what you could do with that. I think that's why I'm leaning to Bamba.
I mean, short term, I think, you know, Bagley will do more damage, but I think long term is Bamba. And the one thing I look at is kind of like, I'm not saying he's going to be a Olajuwon, but I look at how raw Olajuwon was when he first came out and how he developed. I mean, he came out, he was already a defensive monster in college, but when he came out and the offensive game caught up, I mean, to me, he's the greatest center ever played the game. You know what I'm saying? In my eyes, so, you know, I mean, everybody saw the dunk he did on VCU. You know, when he was literally at the top of the backboard, that length and stuff. That's something you just can't teach. All he gotta do is get some offensive skills, and it's scary as a wrap. But like you said, it comes to with the team, the fit and everything, the staff, how they develop them. You know, a lot of that matter. You go to a terrible franchise, it can affect you. You know what I'm saying? So. You know, unless you're just a dog, you just always in the gym regardless. So that's all, but that's rare, you know. So we'll see what happens with that. Man, the Cavs, man, lost 127-99 to Minnesota. The fifth loss out of 7 games. Are they in trouble?
No.
I always feel like we always do this every year. I feel like we do this every year. We always say they're in trouble, but then for some reason they turn it on right when they need to. I don't know, because I feel like we've talked about this year, the East is a little bit tougher than it was. Not saying that they're not going to get through the East, but it's hard to say they're in trouble, but they should be concerned.
I'm not going this time. Just no. Not worried about it. No.
I think it's a concern, because one thing I look at always, last year they were much better on defense. This year they ranked 27th in the league. That's an issue. They can't really stop nobody. They outscoring a lot of people. So, like you said, they keep up this defensive, whatever it is, age, whatever. They keep this up. They gonna run into a team, hot team. They gonna take them out. Like you said, the Wizards, they got the firepower to take that out if they play defense.
And even the Minnesota's coming along anyway.
Yeah, but they won't. I mean, I'm looking more at the playoffs. They ain't gonna see each other till later.
That's true.
But, you know, in the East, yeah, it's just.
Butler out there.
But this is the worst I've seen since LeBron came back. The defense is just.
You think he checked out? He already said
not just. It ain't him. It's the people around him. It ain't just. I'm not blaming him. I mean, he got his first week here on strap up, but I'm talking about the team overall. The team defense just. When you rank 27th, that says it all. That's not good, man. Meanwhile, go ahead.
I'm not worried. I mean, they do this every year. I mean, to me, it started to make me feel like they do this for ratings, just people to talk about it. So I feel like probably in a couple weeks they're gonna go from where they rank right now, 27th?
Yeah.
Probably to like 10th or something like that in a couple weeks. So I mean, I'm not really worried.
Last question. Former Tennessee guard on the women's side, Diamond DeShields, is projected to be a top 3 pick according to DraftSite.com. Would you take her that high, you know, knowing her history, hopping from school to school for different situations? She's currently averaging 19 points and 3 steals in Turkey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Conditional.
You always got to throw that in the contract.
No, seriously, the only reason I wouldn't take her is just because if you go to a team that's bad, it's very likely you're not going to have a good support system in place in terms of like vets for her. And, you know, looking back on some of the heavy movement prior to getting to the WNBA, you know, it's tough as is. I would like her, if it was me, I would rather choose somebody who's going to be able to just be comfortable. We don't have to worry about anything off the court or anything, period, in terms of getting acclimated to the league. I would like her personally on a team with a bunch of vets on it. That's just me personally.
I kind of the same way. Talent-wise, is a no-brainer.
Yeah,
she could be number one, honestly, but I kind of look at her mental toughness a little bit. It seemed like whenever there's issues, North Carolina, she left. In Tennessee, she left because, according to reports, her favorite, you know, teammate left. You know, WNBA is a lot tougher than the NBA, man. It's not the same. You don't get the same luxury and stuff, and you want to endure some things. So I need to know if I'm going to spend a pick that's that high, where I'm basically basing the future of my franchise on you. Are you able to endure? It ain't about your game. I know you can play. You know, so that's the only thing that kind of make me pause a little bit.
But I think I would take her because I think you probably endure more playing overseas.
Nah, they make more overseas.
They make more overseas, but I mean, you're away from your family.
I mean, yeah, but I honestly feel like they probably get treated a little bit better over there, even as crazy as it sounds.
Money-wise, of course, yeah, but I mean,
so just from a respect standpoint,
when we cover the league, they don't even the disrespect the Mexicans have. That's a whole nother show, man. They
it's really bad.
It's bad. They treated.
It's the opposite for men's almost.
Okay.
Now you go over there and it's just like crazy, unstable.
Yeah,
it's love over there. What's negative is that you know your family's not there. But here it's like literally think about it like. how many people truly care about the WNBA on a regular basis or bring it up. You know, we had that post in Minnesota, posted the top athletes in Minnesota. Not one WNBA player brought up, and no disrespect to Minnesota. No disrespect to Minnesota, but outside of the links, everyone's a loser. So, you know,
I'll give you
disrespectful.
perspective. The Arena Football League just came last year. They already market them more than the Mystics ever has.
They do.
And
in
they
the first
did
year.
us like initially that first year. So we want to thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next week. Thank you so much, Jamaal, for coming through. Hope to have you in again. And we look forward to catching you guys next week.